What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video. A lot of people have been reaching out to me, telling me, hey, man, you got to interview some people from Canada, some people from England. So I'm like, all right, let me find somebody, man. Went out there, and I found a guy that's kind of got a compelling story. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's over there in Canada. He's done a bunch of time over there. But we're going to bring Mickey on. We're going to talk to him. Mickey, tell the people who you are, man. Talk a little bit about you and some of the stuff that you do, including your little rap thing.
All right. My name's Mickey. I go by Mike Keys for my rap. It's my real name split into two, kind of like a microphone and keys, because you need keys to open everything good in life. So that's what I did. I'm rapping. I put out one song called Orange Jumpers and Chains. I have a YouTube channel, like Chad said. I started in August. I've just been trying my hardest to be part of the genre. I like Chad's movement, like trying to help these young ones stay out of gangs, because I was a 12-year-old that was involved with that kind of stuff myself, and it just led to nothing but jail. So we're going to let you guys know all about it. And I was born and raised in Toronto, Ontario, from a family of, I was the oldest son. I had two little sisters. My parents weren't together. They broke up when my mom was pregnant. My dad was the oldest out of 8 boys. I was close with all my uncles. So we had a big family on my dad's side. My mom doesn't really have any family. I'm like her only family. So I basically always got to take care of my mom and stuff. My mom's very poor. My dad and them were poor, but they kind of all hustled and did their own thing. And they're like hustlers. Like my dad taught me basically how to hustle. He opened his own little butcher shop. And when I was a kid, I used to go there on weekends and help him and stuff. But we were in a head-on collision, right? Which ruined everything when I was about 9, which left him quadriplegic. And then I found my grandmother murdered with the cord around her neck when I was about the same age. The killer got found not guilty, so that kind of ruined my mom through trial and everything on my mother's side. So that's what kind of, about 10 years old in grade 7, I started selling weed, hanging out with girls and stuff like that. My friends were older in high school, right? So I would always be at the high school skipping off. I got kicked out in grade 7 and 8, and I would just be at the high school, stuff like that, selling at the restaurant. Started off with weed, and then I met my mother, my child that I had a baby in high school, and her dad was a crackhead, bad crackhead. And so I started selling a bit of coke, and she told me that her dad and all his buddies are really bad on the rock. I didn't even know what rock was. I thought it was a totally different drug like heroin or something. And I didn't even know that cocaine was crack. And then she taught me how to cook up the rock. This little 14-year-old girl, and I'm 15. Okay. And I couldn't even believe like what she even understands this, but she was born and raised around this stuff because of her father, right? Bad addiction. So when I was 15, I moved on my own because my mom was basically never home anyways. I was always left on my own anyway from a young age because she was always trying to work and trying to take care of us. So when I moved out and I moved into her dad's rooming house, right? And rented a room there. And from time I was like 15 till about 19, and just stayed in the house like the in-house dealer. And during that time, there was a lot of assaults, which I ended up in Tyack for the first time. I was in an open custody place before that, but I don't figure that's jail. It's just open custody. But my first time I went to this place called Tyack, Toronto Young Offender something complex or whatever it is. Tyack, you can look it up. It's famous jail in Toronto. It was a really bad jail. It's got the bars. It's like the long rows. And when I was there, it was during the SARS. So this is my first experience with jail, being locked down 23 and a half hours a day as a kid, 15, 16 years old. And I was like thinking, this is what jail is like. You come out for half an hour a day for like phone call and shower, and then everybody just starts stabbing each other to try to get the phone first with chicken bones, because they had the real chicken on a bone in there. So they would literally make bone shit instead of chicken bones. And I'm just sitting there watching to see how this all works. And I'm just sitting there watching, and I'm seeing guys run into the phone. Another guy runs up, grabs the phone off him, stabs him. Another guy comes up, punches him. Like it's like the first experience I had was like a chaos kind of jail experience, because I think the being locked up so much and everyone wanted to fight over the 3 little phones, right? But I just basically was staying to myself that first time there. I didn't really get involved in the politics, being young and everything. I think I smoked a couple of joints with this my celly named Smokey. He didn't speak English, so I didn't really talk to him much. Um, and it was a short bit. It was about 4 or 5 months, and I got out, and then I was just back to my regular routine of
Mickey,
selling
let me stop you
drugs.
for a minute.
Okay,
So your celly's name was Smokey,
yeah, yeah,
and
this
you're in
black
there
guy.
smoking with Smokey.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And he didn't speak no English either, right? So it's
Where
hard
was
to
he from?
communicate. That was the only way we could communicate, right?
Where was he from?
Uh, I wanted the like Africa somewhere, like maybe one of those islands somewhere like that. One of the African American countries.
Let's talk a little bit about this, right? I do know this because I was with Richard Valley in federal prison. We were in Big Sandy together. He was a Hell's Angel from over there. Is there a lot of Hell's Angels over there?
Oh yeah, I was actually raised by a lot of Hell's Angels. Like I said, I had a lot of uncles and stuff. Well, they ended up having children, and those children ended up becoming Hell's Angels. Some of my cousins, first blood, first whatever cousins, first cousin, my aunt's sons, my aunt Lucine. So, anyways, yeah, I love my family, but something happened, and they all went to jail years and years ago, like over a decade ago, or maybe longer now. It was when the downtown Toronto clubhouse got seized, and everyone went to jail, and that kind of screwed my fun up with my cousin because I looked up to my cousin and I used to always do everything for him. Like whatever he'd ask me to do, I would do it for him. You know, it was a good thing that we had going on, and I was young, and it was really fun life. And then when he went to jail, it kind of opened my eyes to like, oh my god, my cousin's gone for like almost like ever, almost like to me, 10 years back then was like ever, right? I had only ever done a little bit of time. I was only young, but then I started going to adult jail. I've been in all the super jails in Toronto and outside of Toronto and GTA. I've been in the Penetang Super Jail, Maplehurst Super Jail,
Stop you
the
for a
Lindsay
minute,
Super
Mickey.
Jail.
Let me stop you for a second, right?
Okay.
Because
Yep.
you know I'm not far from Canada. For people that don't know, I'm just right over by the Rainbow Bridge.
Right.
And I've been to Canada numerous times. You guys got them special fries over there, they poutine fries, eh?
Yeah.
But
For sure.
anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit more before we get into the prison, right?
Okay.
Because some people will be watching this and they're like, "Ah, man, them Canadian prisons, man, they think the Canadian prisons are soft. They think Canada's soft, but really, it's really not." But we're going to get there in a second. I'm going to talk about the 14-year-old girl. Was she also addicted? Did you say?
No, 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 not addicted. She grew up around her father and his friends that were all addicted.
They were hitting that Pyrex with that baking soda and whipping that shit up.
She was addicted to other things like ecstasy and stuff like that.
Kind of introduced you to the crack game.
Yeah.
So they have people over there. I mean, in Canada, are they standing on the corners, man, hustling like they're doing over here in New York? I mean, what's the hustle like?
Yeah, okay. Back in the crack era, in the 90s and all that, in the 2000s and all that, when 50 Cent first came out, and even before that, like 10 years before that, um, the crack era in New York was pretty bad, right? Yeah, well, we're only a 3 hour drive from there, and Toronto is the biggest city, one of the biggest cities, I think, biggest in Canada. Um, People don't realize that Toronto is on the same level of gang violence as LA. We actually sometimes have more shootings than they do in a short period. Like when the new 2022 hit, for the first week, we had more shootings than LA. We had about 8 shootings in the first 4 days in Jane and Finch in one hood.
I know that
And
Toronto's like it's a big city. It's a hood
we have
city.
millions of hoods.
I
Millions.
I fought over there in Toronto as an amateur fighter, so I know. But tell us a little more about Toronto, man. I know the Jamaicans were over there, and
Okay. Toronto is a really, really big city. It's spread out with the 401. The 401 is a big highway that runs right through Toronto. I think it's one of the longest highways in the world, I believe. Um, it goes all the way from like, I guess, over way past It just goes way and way past Hamilton, way out of Toronto, and way further out on the other side of Toronto. So it runs all the way through our city. I think we have like 4 million people. It's not a lot of people compared to you guys because it's more. Canada's a lot bigger in other places that are like way up north that I've never even seen because I'm like born and raised in Toronto. So when people are talking about these places, I have no clue what they're talking about. because they think that we're like Eskimos or something, but I live the exact same life that they do. Like you guys picture your guys exact like states and stuff, the way they look, that's exactly what like Canadian cities look like, basically. That's the only way I can explain it. Like we have housing projects, we have all that stuff too. We have government housing projects. The guys are out there on the corners hustling, selling dope in the crack era. It was a big thing back then. You'd have like 8 or 10 dealers standing on George Street alone, just like, and they would like pick like what dealer they're gonna go to type shit. Like there's like so many, yeah, there would be like 20 dealers standing there, and they're just like a gang, but like they all have their own customers or whatever, right? And I knew about 5 of them in this one hood that I dealt with a lot of these bloods, and I would go there, and if I needed to re up, and one guy didn't have nothing, there would always be one of his buddies there. You know what I mean? So I never really had a problem, and they knew me really good. I wasn't just like one of these guys coming up grabbing little bits off of them. You know what I mean? I was one of their favorite people, fucking coming there with all kinds of money. You know, but yeah, I fucking started selling a lot, really young age, man. I think that's what got me into a lot of this stuff, because that brings around that like crazy people, and like I ended up going to jail. A lot of my stuff was assaults, because it would be like, okay, for example, my baby mother cheated on me. We're like young. I'm like 16. There's like a 25-year-old guy. He cheats and I beat him.
You hear me? You're lying. She didn't cheat on you.
Okay, so she cheats, and we decide to fight. He calls me behind the liquor store on the phone. He tells me come behind the liquor store or whatever. So I meet him behind the liquor store. He pulls out a knife on me. I look to the side behind the dumpster. I see a 2x4. So I defend myself. I hit him in the arm. I guess it broke his arm where the knife was, broke him again, his arm, and cracked his skull. And it's like, so I'm in the jail the whole time. I think I did 20 months on that. And I'm thinking, this guy totally ratted me out, like when the cops came, and he wanted to fight me. He started all of it. He wanted me to come there. It was like a setup almost. He goes and tells them right where I am, the address, everything. And so I was in there for 20 months, and this is for a lot of rats out there. I don't do this anymore because I turned my life around, but I was crazy back then. And so for the whole 20 months, I'm thinking I'm going to get out and I'm going to mess this guy up and show rats that you can't just rat on people and think that when they get out, they'll be scared of you because you're just rat on them again. So I got out and made it a principle, a point to show everybody, and I went and found him and messed him up again and went back to jail again for longer.
All right, so let me ask you a couple more questions.
That was a little bit.
You're Irish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Yankees fan? Because I see you rocking the Yankees hat. Or did you do it just for your boy?
I did it for you, but growing up, I always wore New York Yankees caps and Blue Jays caps. Like over here, it's not like that. Where like certain hat. Well, I guess there is, but everyone wears the states hats, and it's just ball caps to me. You know what I mean?
It's all good. I'm just messing with you.
Like I know in the states, different things mean different stuff on hats, but it's not really like that over here.
I want to talk a little bit about, like I said, you're Irish. You went to prison. You were in the crack game in Canada, which it is a dangerous place for those that don't know. And you got a YouTube channel. You talk about, prison stories in Canada, things that you've been through or whatever. What is the name of your YouTube channel? Because we haven't told the people yet.
Canadian Jail War Stories. And the reason I named it that, because every time I go to jail, after the first few times and I started getting into the politics, I was always on the gang module. So I was always on the what they call like an STG. I'm an STG. So that means I'm always going to be on the gang unit. So I'm always on the worst pod in the jail, basically. So I started getting involved with all the politics, and the whole time I was there, I wrote it right to the end, 10 toes down. I even did 4 fades back to back with 5 PG Crips.
Let me ask you this then. STG, tell the people what that is so they know.
Security Threat Group.
And what security threat group did they allege you were involved with?
They allege that I'm affiliated with Hell's Angels, and they think I'm a member of Bloods. Of Looney Tunes, specifically.
Wow. So Hell's Angels and Bloods, that's a hell of a mix, bro. They got it wrong?
My life should be a movie. That's what I think. I just think they should write a movie about my life. Like so many times I thought, my life's got to be a movie. How am I not dead when freaking everybody around me is dead or in jail for the rest of their life? All my homies are dead, a lot of them. and I'm alive, and it's weird. Like I've been through more than them. I've been through the most. Like I've been shot at. I've been shot. I've been grazed in the head with a ricochet
What the hell
one
were they?
time. I'll
What the
tell you
hell?
that story one time when we're off camera
I want to know
or
the story
whatever. We'll get it
now.
on camera one time later.
The people want to know the story, man. You got them all
Okay,
interested.
I have something on the back of my head. I'll show you guys another time or whatever. I don't think I'll be able to show it now, but because I'm growing my hair and I don't want people to see. But I'll take a picture of it. But anyways, when I was younger, with that stupid girl I was telling you about, I found out about a dealer that had like 1,000 black diamond spade heroin based skis. So I had this extendable thing, and I was what you can. My cousin used to call me a cowboy because I used to go around and sometimes rob drug dealers. And so what I would do, I had an extendable, so I'm going to rob these three drug dealers, ecstasy dealer, whatever they are. And I show up to this building and I'm trying to rob these guys, and all three of them are stabbing me, and I'm like hitting them on the head with these extendable thing. You know what extendable is? Okay, so I had that. And anyway, long story short, I'm bleeding like crazy, but I got all the drugs and I got out of there, right? So I'm like trying to find out now where to sell this stuff, right? And I couldn't find anybody that wanted this stuff. So I ended up having to deal with somebody in Scarborough that was somebody I didn't know. And when we pulled up, me and my buddies, and we pulled up to their car, it was weird, but I needed the money, and so I went in there anyways. And so I pulled in like this, and they pulled in like that, and he wanted to go to this gas station. Now I know for a reason because he had it planned. But I'm like, okay, come on, get in the car. And he's like, no, 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 you get in this car, get in this car. And I'm like, just hurry up, come on, get in. And like it was getting really stupid and bait. So I just said, get out of the car and went in their car. As soon as I got in the car, I hear clunk, 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 clunk. All the doors locked, and he pulled out of the thing. And it was, I guess he set it up right by the highway. So we pulled out of the gas station, and my people were facing the opposite way and that lane. So he lost them, got on the highway, and right away, as soon as I was in the very back seat behind the driver, right? And there's a guy beside me, a guy in the front passenger seat, and the guy driving. Okay, so I kept saying, pass me the money, right? Because at first, like, they're not acting like they're robbing me, they're just acting like they're driving fast. I'm like, where are you going? My people, you're gonna take off. Like, no, 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 just don't worry. I'm like, okay, pass the money, pass the money. And he's like, he holds it up like that, and I just see a wad. He holds it up and then puts it back in his pocket. As soon as he puts it back in his pocket, the guy in the passenger seat turns around and points the gun right in my face like this from the passenger seat, and I'm behind the driver. And the guy beside me grabs onto me like this on my arms, and the gun's right in my face. And they're like, okay, give us it, give us it, give us it. And freaking, I start elbowing this guy here in the face, right beside me, as I'm holding Buddy's wrist down to the floor. And then I lean over like this, and I unlock the door, and I roll out on the highway. I'm going, this cars are swerving, almost got ran over and stuff. And then I was like, they like try to pull like a Yui, and I'm like running in like driveways trying to like duck behind cars and shit. And I thank God I did, because I'd probably be dead to this day. When they turned around, they were shooting at me, and they were hitting the car and whatever. And I guess something from the car hit my head, and I was pouring blood out of my head like crazy. And I thought I was shot in the head. Like I thought there was a bullet in my head. And I run up this hill to this like plaza, and I just see the intersection and buses coming. Like I lost them. And I go up to this guy, this regular person. I'm like blood from head to toe, right? And I got no money. I got 1,000 E's on me. I run up to him. I'm like, yo, I need bus fare. And I'm like showing him all their drugs. I'm like, I need bus fare. Just give me bus fare. Scared to cop the guy. He gives me bus fare. I run and hopped on the bus and went back to the neighborhood, and I didn't even go to the hospital, bro. I sat in there and opiated myself up for like a week and laid in bed with a towel on my head for like a week.
Man, listen, I didn't expect this interview to go there. I
Sorry.
better start ducking and dodging,
I haven't
man.
told that yet, but
Listen
on the
to me.
channel, but I planned on telling it eventually.
Talking to you, man. I better watch out. Ain't no one start shooting at us, bro. We safe?
Nah, man. Friggin', I turned my life around big time, Chad. When I
get there. We're gonna get there.
When I came out this time, I was fed up with it.
Now let's talk a little bit about. I want to talk a little bit more about the Hell's Angels in Canada, because they were viciously violent, bro. Like I've read a bunch of stuff on them, and you know they were kind of raising you. What was it like, man? I know you. Hold on now. Let me talk. You said that you would do things for your cousin and stuff like what type of things were you doing?
I don't really want to speak on it. I like bad things, like.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I don't want you to talk about anything super bad.
Things I never got caught for, so I don't really want to speak on those things.
Okay, so
But what you
anyway,
can imagine I'd be doing for the Hells Angels, I'll just say collecting was one of them and hurting people.
oh yeah, we definitely don't want to talk about that, buddy. I thought it was totally something different, like delivering things or stuff like that.
Well, it
I didn't know
started
you
off
were
like
out.
that.
I didn't know you were out there, hitting people with
It
hammers and
started
rakes.
off like that. It started off just taking things here around here and there for my dad and my cousin and going and dropping off, collecting money from this one and bringing it to that one.
Dad alleged to have been a Hell's Angel.
No, my dad was one of the only ones that really wasn't because he was the oldest son and they all kind of looked up to him. Actually, a lot of them are kind of scared of my dad because he's like the oldest brother and he was the one that's like, I don't need a gang type of shit. Like he was on some one man crazy kind of thing.
You're one of them white dudes that like gets drunk and like, what's up?
No, he owned a butcher shop and he was just like, he was really good with the knife. He was a butcher and he was just like one time, just a guy tried to rob my dad's store, and he basically took the gun off him and beat him all the way down the block. Put it that way. Like my dad used to take Hell's Angels, toss them in the pool as a joke at parties and shit. Like,
I mean, okay,
but
so
he's
your dad.
passed on now. Like he ended up in a wheelchair and stuff like that. So like my dad's buddy was actually this guy, this very old guy. He used to hang out at my dad's burger shop. He was actually what you would call like a godfather to the club to like give them mortgages and shit. Really old rich guy that owned like houses in Bahamas. My dad's best buddy.
So your dad was just kind of one of them hardcore white dudes. Like I know white dudes like that, man. Like rip their shirt off, hit themselves in the head with a beer bottle. Like what's up? But you said your dad
crazy like that. He was like he wanted to be rich no matter what. He actually was a self-made millionaire. But he ended up we ended up losing everything because of the car accident. He had 3 businesses before the accident.
and I'm sorry to hear that.
And it was all from the ground up. It was all from he had a grade 5 education, like all from hustling ground up. Like he would have rooms in his basement, rent rooms, like put like 10 rooms in his butcher store basement, rent them to like welfare junkies and shit, get all their checks. Like my dad was hardcore, bro.
It sounds like it's pretty rough, a little rougher in Canada than I thought. You know what I mean?
It is. Like people think that, well, you know what? I'm imagining some parts of Canada, but everywhere you go, there's going to be places that are soft and places that are crazy and just like cities and that are just like that. You know what I mean? And everywhere you go, there's going to be places that are like in the middle of nowhere, I guess, farmland, which there is in Canada out west, like in like those other provinces. I'm in Ontario and Toronto. Say like Alberta, Saskatchewan, there probably is those places in the middle of nowhere, but I've never even heard of them. I've never been there. Like you guys in LA, never been out of LA, out of your hood. I've never been out of Toronto except for like a 3-hour drive, whatever way.
Have you ever been to New York? I mean, you're right near Niagara Falls.
No, but I've been to Buffalo Peace Bridge on our side at Crystal Beach, Fort Erie, and I was like jumping off the Crystal Beach Port Bridge pier thing on our side, like jumping in the water and having fun on the beach. And one year we were like, I was thinking, one year when I got out, me and my cuz took a thing down to the limo. Me and my cousins all took a thing down to the limo. My cousin passed on, one of them that I was really close with, and he was like, he would be here right now. He was like, me and him were like that. Every time I come home from jail, I would go straight to his house type thing, and he'd give me an outfit. Like, here's a Gucci or Rockaware outfit, like whatever, you know? We were real close.
Let's get into, let's talk about Canadian prisons and Canadian jails.
Yeah.
I know there was, I don't know if it still is, but there was always a large Jamaican population over there, and they were pretty known for violence. You know, who runs the prison system over there?
The Jamaicans, Crips run the prison system for the most part over here. Hang on, I'm gonna grab a tissue, okay? Yeah, but it's the okay, I got one. Hold on. Thank you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the Crips run it. And Bloods, whatever pod you're on, you gotta imagine if the Crips aren't on that pod and there's a lot of Bloods on the pod, depends what pod you're on. It could be different. Like different pods could be different sets and stuff, but I mean, if I had to like put one person on it, like as a whole, I would say, yeah, the Jamaicans. It used to be Hells Angels Independents would run the canteen, but recently in the last, say, 15, 20 years, more like that, like last 15, say, slowly but surely it became the Muslims running the canteen. And
So
when you
I'm
run the
talking
canteen,
about.
you basically
Listen to
run
me.
the jail.
Listen to me for a minute. I'm talking about like gang wise and stuff. You're a white dude. You're from Canada. You walk into prison. I mean, are they pulling you up right away? What happens when you get to prison?
Okay, yeah. When we walk on the block, say you walk on a gang unit in Toronto, Canada here, and you walk on one of these ranges and you're white, you'll probably end up in PC so fast if you're not like a hard white boy that's gonna fight for your food. You better fight for your food for one, or you won't eat chicken. You're gonna starve. They'll take your chicken off your plate. Okay, so the gangs are gonna take your food. They're gonna extort you.
Hold on. Time out.
Extortion's real
Time out.
bad here.
Time out. Time out.
Extortion is the number one thing here.
So let me ask you something. They'll just walk right up and just take your chicken right off your plate when you pick it up.
When guys come in the Don jail, right? There's a cell called 18. It's the very last cell. New guys go in there, unless you're a gang and you'll just go in with your gang homies. You're a new guy in cell 18, mostly white dudes or whatever. Come in. I do feel bad for them, but if they're not going to fight for themselves, Chad, I can't fight for them. You know what I mean? I got a hard enough time fighting for my own food and making a name for my own self and getting my own stuff, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's so rough there, man. I don't understand how people can think that it's soft when you come into a jail and you basically got guards scared to come on the range because it's a gang range and 40 guys on there, probably 35 of them are gang members or 30 of them at least. And that's because the ones that are soft don't last there. They'll be gone in a week or two from not eating, or they'll just have a breakdown, or they'll get extorted and stay there, or it's.
You talked about people earlier stabbing each other with chicken bones, which I know people have made knives
I
out of
was
chicken
in
bones.
that young offender jail, but in the Don jail, it's a lot worse than that. It's like in the Don jail, it's so old that it's like haunted. People say it's a very famous jail. Anyone can look up on this jail and see how bad it is, and see that I'm not lying. People have been murdered in there so many times. There's actually like a graveyard there somewhere, and in the old part, they didn't even have toilets. When my dad was in the Don jail, he used to shit in a hole supposedly, and it wasn't like that when I was there. The punching bags and they had toilet. Punching bags were gone and they had toilets. But these cells are the smallest cells I've ever been in. But the gangs, back to the gangs. The gangs run everything from cooking in the kitchen, the food, where the other super jails just get the food shipped in. It's all the same food, those places. Don jail, they make their own food. The WIC runs all day in the shower, where any other place I've been, that would not fly. Like, I'm talking guys walking around free-handed, puffing on things, on the phone, on spliffs, whatever. Just like, it's a bad, bad jail. That's why they had to close it down.
Let me talk to you a little bit about this. What's one of the worst things you've seen in the Canadian prison system?
Well, I was on range. I didn't look when the guy got killed. One guy got killed on my unit before, and I didn't look back there. I wasn't looking. I was there. I could hear it.
Did you hear him, man? How did they kill him?
In the shower, in the back. Just because he got killed because he was gambling with a gang. He wasn't in a gang. He was gambling with these guys for like a month and winning their money. And the whole time when they found out that he didn't have canteen any of the time. The whole entire time he was taking all their money every week. He didn't have any money. If he would have lost, they would have found out right away that he didn't have money. You know what I mean?
They kill him. They beat him to death. They stabbed him. Did they hit him with the chicken bones? What happened?
Okay, they call them jiggas in Canada. In Toronto here, they're like, they make these shanks out of like fiberglass trays, right? The really hard part on the tray, and then they'll have other stuff, long pieces of steel or like a big huge tile that's broken off in the bathroom that they made into something. But I'm assuming it was probably from the stabbings. I'm not gonna think would kill you because they probably only go in like where's my fingers? They probably only go in like that much, right? These little jigga things that they call them. But some people have had the long steel ones. Don't think that they're not in there. But I'm saying, like, out of the 30 guys, when I said everyone has a shank, that's the kind of shank I'm speaking on. Other guys might have better ones, but everyone has one of those, put it that way. And he died from being back there getting stomped on. Yeah, basically getting stomped on. I think that's what happened, why he died. from getting boot fucked too much. Like,
Jesus, man.
and then they didn't even know about it for like friggin' half the day because they're scared to come on the range. They don't come on often, so they just put him on the bunk and fucking left him there in cell 18.
So let's talk about this now. You end up doing how long you been out?
I've been out since 2012, but I ended up going back in 2017 for 6 months.
Yeah, but you've been
My
out
dates
since.
were from 2000 to like 2012 times.
Talk about you getting out of prison, man, and not going back. You changed your life. I think you met a nice girl. Tell the people what you're doing now. Like, do you work? What do you do for work? What are you doing?
Right now, I'm not running it, but I'm a self-employed contractor. So I basically run it because I work for myself and I just get little jobs contracting, like either painting a house or doing vinyl siding because I can do things like that. I do framing. So I just try to find any jobs I can. I can't work with people because I can't be around people. I have too much PTSD and anxiety. Like I can be around like a couple people like that are like guys like you or whatever, but like people outside, I get real bad anxiety like in the grocery stores and stuff. So like my girl will have to come with me and just be like, we just go shopping real quick and I get like groceries for like a couple weeks and then come home and I just go to work basically, work on my channel, do my music, and when I'm done like all of that and I do have some time, I play like a video game or something. But I got two stepsons and a daughter, and they're all teenagers, so I got a lot of responsibility, you know.
I hear you, but you know what, man? That's what's important, that you have responsibility, that you're responsible for other people, so you don't want to go back to jail. You don't want to make
Exactly, and
any
I think that's
mistakes.
what keeps me motivated. She's a big reason why I changed my life around. And when I did go back in 2017, usually I would lose everything every time I went to jail. And this time when I did go, she kept everything going for me and kept taking money out of my bank, paying my rent, so I didn't lose everything that time. And I was calling her on the phone every day. That bid was probably the bid that I was just the probably I'd say if I had a best bid, because I walked on the range, started running it, and had the phone, and just boom for 6 months. I was like on the phone all day. The best you can live in there. That's how I was living for that last time I went in there. But I would never want to go back. There is no fun in there. It's just when people hear me say stuff like, "Oh, I loved that cell," or this or that. That's, I mean, compared to another cell, because I've been on that range for a year and I don't want to have to go to another one on another range. So yeah, I love my cell because it's my home, but I don't actually mean I love it for those people that actually think that. Because I got comments like that, like, "Oh, he loves jail." No, I don't love it. It's just I love that cell compared to moving to a totally new spot where I don't know nobody. And I've been there for a year fighting for my food and right? I don't want to go to somewhere else. I had to fight to stay on that range.
Well, listen, man. So you're out here. You're free. I mean, you got some PTS issues. I mean, people can see that listening to the video. But you're living your best life now, right?
Yeah, I have a hard time communicating, man. I'm sorry about that. If I get high and up, it's not from anything. I've quit everything. Like I don't even drink or smoke cigarettes no more. I just smoke a little bit of weed now for the anxiety. But I used to be bad like with the opiates and stuff. I quit opiates back since 2012. Drugs, alcohol, and then I even weed until like about a year ago. I started smoking weed because I wanted to. I mean, it was legal here now, so I thought I'd go to the store and check it out.
But
And it helped
listen,
me.
let me say this, right, Mickey? Just to let you know, man. Like, I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm gonna get ready to close the show, but
It,
what message
I
would you give to
appreciate
other people, man? Youngsters, man, that are on the wrong road in Canada, in the U.S.
ones that are joining gangs at 12 years old, jumping off the porch real young. I know all about it, so you guys can take my advice for this. Like, if you want to change your life around and seriously change your life around, you got to get away from the people in the area. That's what I did. And then you got to get working. You got to get a hobby, clean money. Don't worry about dirty, fast money. That's just, you go back to jail. It's karma. It's bad news. Just you want clean money. You want to move away from everybody. Get a little hobby. Play some video games when you get real bored and don't know what to do, or make some music. Get a hobby that you're passionate about and just focus on making your life better. And like try to get a chick to hold you down.
Listen, man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to tell people, man, to check you out. Canadian Jail War Stories. Go check out his YouTube channel. If you like Mickey, you like what he's talking about, check him out. Check out his music. Hit the subscribe button for this kid, man. You know, and
Yeah, man.
hopefully
We're good
you'll be
over
interested
here.
in his
Chad's
story
the
and
best.
the things he's got going on. So, again, Mickey, man, I appreciate you. I'm going to tell people, man, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video with respect. Blow Down the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.